Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I'm out here to check on the status of our pond after it's rained for 3 straight days. We bought this property about a year ago, and it's got some drainage issues that everywhere I'm standing from here most of the way up to the house turns into its own pond. This is flooded all fall and all spring and just unusable. And then at the same time, we have a half full pond. So I just want to get all the water drained off the property into the pond. Right now you can see this is the most full it's been. It actually is within about a foot of being full. So that's good news, but I'm going to walk you around and show you how the swale's performing and how we still have standing water in a lot of places around here. And what it's taken me a little while to understand is the difference in effectiveness between a swale and an actual French drain line and what the difference is. This swale has been running for the last 2 hours while I walked around out here and checked out what was going on. And it hasn't rained all day, it's still draining. But it's only draining the area within this 12-foot wide strip. It's not draining the whole property because it's on top of the ground. Whereas if we put in actual drain lines, the ground's like a sponge right now, and it would pull the water out of that area and then water would run down to it. It can actually drain further away from it. And that seems like common sense, but until I walked this property, I didn't understand why my 2 swales weren't really gonna do the job. So let's walk around the property a little bit. I'll show you how the swale's doing. I'll show you our problem areas and what my plan is to deal with it. And another awesome thing is I've partnered with a company called Condor's Water Solutions. They're gonna set me up with some products to get our pond cleaned up and in better shape and teach me a little bit. So I've got 3 big boxes up there that I'm gonna open up this evening, and as soon as this dries out just a little bit more, we're gonna get it all set up and should really make a big difference in the pond. This is the larger of the 2 swales that I dug, and the way I decided where to put these was to come out after a rain and look for where the biggest puddles of standing water were. So I identified this as a problem area, and I dug this swale. It's about a foot to 18 inches deeper in the middle than it is on the sides, and it's 150 foot long. And every time it rains, it drains a lot of water from the top end down to the bottom. And so it's doing its job, but it isn't making it where I can come down here the day after a rain and drive the tractor without leaving ruts. Whenever I finished cutting it, there was not a gully in the middle like you see right here. That's all been washed out by the water running down. So I feel really good about the fact it is accomplishing that goal I dug it for. But it's not accomplishing what I want, which is to dry out this entire area. I've got 400 foot of French drain pipe, 4-inch corrugated, and landscape fabric, and I've got the rock and the stakes for the fabric, and I kind of decided I could save a bunch of money and save all that stuff for projects around the house if I just use swales. But now I can clearly see why the swales alone aren't enough. As I walk out here on the island, I'm just dying to get that bridge put in, but it needs to dry out more before I can do that. The other thing I noticed is the erosion on the banks. And where there's a clear definition from where it is eroding and where it isn't. And obviously the difference there is that the flat ground above still has grass roots in it. And so as soon as it dries out, I need to pack a little bit more dirt onto this bank and back drag it to firm that up a little bit. And then I need to get some grass seed and some straw there to help keep it from washing away. I tell you what, I just dug this pond section, or the expansion to the pond, about 6 weeks ago, and I never thought it would get this full before spring. So I may even have a problem of overflowing the pond, in which case I'll be putting another drain system where I'm standing right now and running it down to the ditch. And if I'm setting up an overflow behind the pond like that, I'll have to put in a spillway, or more likely a pipe cut through the bank of the pond. But as you can see, everywhere I walk on the lower half of the property is still mud puddles and slush. So I really want to get all this drained because I want to be able to access this property and do what I need to do without worrying about tracking it up. I really am excited about the products I've got from Condors. I think getting good aeration is going to go a long way in making the pond look the way I want it to. And I'm actually setting up 2 aerators on the pond. But for right now, what I have is an electric aerator. They've also sent me some other products that are water conditioners and that sort of thing. So I think we've got a plan in place for how to finish getting this to drain and how to make this an area that can be kind of an attraction at the tree farm, and a pond that stays full and stocked, and get the bridge across it. We're gonna have a windmill out on the island. I'm pretty excited about everything we've got going here. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. You should see a couple more of our videos on the screen, and I'll see you next time.